Well, hello again, and thank you very much for joining me. It's nice to see you again. So, today we're down in Bournemouth, outside the world famous Harry Ramsden's chip shop, which is, well, world famous, but it's also probably one of the biggest in the world as well. So, all of this is part of the chip shop. It's absolutely huge. It's been in Bournemouth for around 30 years. I believe it was originally located there in the mid to late 90s. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm not a local, so I wouldn't know, but it was just a couple of people I'd spoken to while I was down that way indicated that was the kind of time it had been there. So you've got the pier, which I couldn't help noticing the sand levels down here. They seem to have a massive amount of sand. Whether the coast has shifted and they're getting extra sand down here where we're losing a bit in Norfolk, not completely sure, again not being a local, but had to watch out there, just nipping over the lines to the skyline, which leads from the behind the helter-skelter that you can see at the back there. There's a prominent tall building there with a curly staircase. That's the skyline to the beach, which we'll see in a second, just past this big wheel, that like ramp thing in the background on the beach there, that joins onto. So the big wheel, I have got some footage in a little while of that starting up, just getting ready for Easter, I suppose. All lovely and tidy round there, nice. So a little flight down the pier, and I did notice when walking down the pier that the planks and the actual pier itself was very, very well maintained, really nice. I don't know how long ago those planks had been replaced, but they'd all been replaced with stainless steel countersunk screws with a slotted head, which, you know, in this day and age you'd think you'd use a Torx fitting or hex fitting, you know, or even a posi fitting, but not normally a slotted screw. So that takes commitment. The only thing I'd say is not all the heads lined up. I'm a bit anal with the way they are, to be honest. So I did notice things like that. So, but apart from that, absolutely beautiful pier, to be honest with you. Credit to Bournemouth. Really, really lovely. So a little slide round to the side so we can see it from slightly different angle, but you can see the calmness in the sea, absolutely like a mill pond today. So I thought, well, while I'm down this way, it's rude not to stick the drone up and just get a little bit of footage. People watching all over the country, so nice to see if I can capture your town as well. So we'll have a little pan round. You can see all of Bournemouth in the background, and we'll have a little pan round towards the left, which will take us down towards Sandbanks, which is probably some of the most expensive land in the country, I should think. It's very, very, very picturesque. You can just see it there in the distance. We will have a little flight down there shortly. Definitely worth a visit if you're ever in the area. But again, they've got miles and miles and miles of beautiful beaches. So, wow, how big is Bournemouth? Have a good scope round. Lots of green space there, but also got a park and things like that. Quite oldie-worldy in some parts, quite modern in others. So it's very, very nice. We certainly enjoyed our stay, found everybody very friendly. You can see the groins in use again all the way down the beach. So we've got Harry Ramsden's at the beginning of the promenade there, and then leading on we come to some beach huts that lead all the way down, again being a very popular thing. But if you notice, all the way around by the beach huts, all the way around in the background, there's a severe amount of sand that's been blown up on there. And if you notice, the groins are mostly buried by sand, which would indicate a rise in sand quantities on the beach, as opposed to a decrease which we're experiencing on the east coast. But what a lovely place. Now this little building here, what a fascinating building. I did have a little look at that, and it was a gentleman built it for his wife for her 60th birthday, and when they both died in around 1921, that type of time, 1920, 21, the place got opened up to the public. I mean, how wonderful is that? Look at the architecture with like the French style turrety things on the top, and you've got your glass globe on the top there to be able to see through. That fantastic white building in the background there, just showing and highlighting some of the wonderful places you can stay. Somebody down there trying to ride through the sand on the public footpath along the beach edge there, just indicating again quite how much sand has been blown up. I know they've had a lot of wind and things down there, which will have definitely impacted to the amount of sand blown from the beach onto the edge. But the general height of the sand everywhere just seemed excessively high. We'll have a look shortly at some groins and things, and you'll see how submerged they are in sand. Barely the tops poking out, whereas they would have originally been 4 or 5 feet tall above the sand. So, we'll have a little scope round and you can visibly see there, look, where the groin is going into the sea, and then where it sinks into the sand going further up the beach, just showing quite how much sand has infilled since the groins have been there, because you wouldn't have been able to build them beneath the sand line. So that's my theory anyway. Again, not being a local, I haven't got history on the place. Just the first time I've ever visited, so it was definitely very nice, and would definitely go back. So again, just look at the sea and the beaches. We are very, very lucky in the UK to have some of the loveliest beaches I've ever seen, to be honest. I know I've been to different places in the world, but not necessarily all of them have such lovely beaches. Maybe I'm biased, but you've only got to look yourself. Just the beautiful calm day here. You could be anywhere in the world, couldn't you? Just sitting on the beach, enjoying yourself, doing what's free in life. Absolutely wonderful. Anyway, I'll let you enjoy a little bit of footage. Save me rabbiting on through the whole thing. I'll catch you again at Sandbanks. Enjoy the footage. Well, thank you for staying with me. I'm now at Sandbanks. Just thought I'd give you a little view of Sandbanks. We've got the ferry coming across. We'll catch that in a second. We've got a little like rescue type boat going out into the sea, little ribbed inflatable. The ferry is docked on the Sandbank side and releasing some cars and bicycles, bus vehicles and bits. You can go across as a foot passenger for just £1, and it's really rather nice on the other side, I have to say. We'll take a look in a second. So here's Brown's Island, and as you can clearly see, very, very, very beautiful. Look at that. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So you've got your own personal little bit of sea behind this little bit of land here. Absolutely lovely. So what a beautiful place to live, isn't it? Look at that narrow, tiny little strip of sea, land there, leading you down to Sandbanks. The average house price in 2025 was £975,000. The average house price on Sandbanks. That's top money. Top money. But you can understand why. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. The crystal clear sea. Wow. What a nice place. So, if you're in doubt as to whether you fancy a visit to Dorset, I'd recommend it, because I think it's very, very nice indeed. Just look off into the distance and you've got these little island clumps. A few clouds in the sky now, and the wind was starting to pick up, but still the sun was trying to burst through. So we've got to be very, very grateful, because we're still quite early in the year, still in March, so not summertime yet, unfortunately. But the ferry takes you across to this side over here. There's the other side of the ferry terminus, where it docks in. And as you can see, really, really, really nice, isn't it? I think they call it Shell Island. Sorry, orthopaedic shoes back on. Not Shell Island, Shell Bay. So looking off into the distance there, look at that. And again, sea, absolutely as calm as you like, isn't it? So we'll get a nice aerial view of Sandbanks. And again, I don't think it needs a lot of commentary, does it? The scenery speaks for itself. So rather than, again, me spoil it with needless waffle, I will let you enjoy the beautiful scenery as I have. Please sit back, relax and watch. thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you've enjoyed the little visit to Bournemouth and Sandbanks. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye for now.